behind me. Yes, I'm the girlfriend's trash.
Grace and peace, saints. This is your girl AJ, Aisha, whatever you want to call me. And welcome to my channel, Aisha Always TV, where we host Luxe Avenue, the podcast. It's early morning, okay? But anyway, if you are new here, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to my channel. Hello. And then like this video, and then share this video with everybody in your contact list, okay? Thank you. And if you're a member, welcome back. Y'all know I got to go through my spiel for the newbies. So Luxe Avenue, the podcast, what is it, right? So Luxe Avenue, the brand, has absolutely nothing to do with materialistic things, anything monetary or anything like that, right? But it is simply an avenue or a way of us living our best lives to our God-given ability, right? And that's the luxury to me, because I want everything that God has for me. Ain't that right? Okay. So again, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and let's get into today's episode. I have a special guest. Y'all just prepare yourselves, because this conversation, I have no idea where it's going. But you're definitely in for a treat. It is my brother. We call him Boss Man. That's his yeah. So introducing to some, Jeffrey Thomas II. Huh? Hello.
What up?
What's
up,
going on?
I mean, man, it's early.
It is. It is early. You're definitely right about that. But we don't, like I like to tell my saints, we're not going to be before you long, because y'all know I don't like to talk that much. But when I have something to say, we'll get it out. Amen. Man. So just tell the people about yourself, what you do,
Well, I'm Jeffrey Thomas. Also known J. Thomas. I'm a pastor. I'm a producer. I'm a songwriter. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. I'm a mentor. I'm J. Thomas. You know what I'm saying? I'm everything that hopefully God wanted me to be, and still becoming the things that He wants me to be. So yeah, what up with that though?
Period. Got you. So, as he mentioned, he's a songwriter, producer, pastor. Listen, a dope individual we have here, right? But what I wanted to bring him on the show to kind of talk about is how mental health or music and ministry helps mental health. So Jay, I just want you to talk about first, how did you get into the music industry or just the music realm?
My father's a pastor. He pastored our church for 37 years. Charity childcare, charity cares, charity church guide in Christ, kings and priests. You got something super big, it has to change names a few times.
Yes.
You just got to rock how you rock. But because of my father's vast ability to create different things, it always afforded us the opportunity to learn and grow and become within our gifts. So the truth is, I can't say that the industry started first, but the church and the ministry started first. My father was running revivals up and down these Indiana roads. I was right there next to him when he first started ministry in Hallville in 1988. You know what I'm saying? I was playing the drums that we grabbed from the pawn shop up the street. I think that more than the industry that blessed me the most is the imagination of my father, which is also known as vision, because he's seen something. It allowed me to see opportunity, and it allowed me to have a space of my own to become who I am now. So being very honest with you, I don't necessarily know that I chose industry, but my love for my father and for what he was doing always kind of made me choose to be with him. And so everywhere he was a church, and there was always a drum set, and there was always a piano. Now, of course, God put that thing inside of me, where I had a gifting or ability or a talent to do it.
Right.
But my father, because I loved him, I wanted to be where he was. So if I'm being real honest, I don't think it was an industry thing for me. I just think it was a son following his father. You feel me?
Yeah, that's not, listen, but that's what we need, honestly, is more that type of relationship where it's not going for just the money or just the, it's following that fathership or that mentorship or whatever the case may be. It'll probably be a much better world. But anyway, um,
But I'm gonna be honest
so
with you.
what is
It
it?
was it was it was because when God started birthing what he was birthing in my father as far as ministry, I believe that within our entire household, he was birthing something for all of us to do, for all of us to be within our own individual scopes. As you know, with my sister, she's an incredible entrepreneur. She has carried and pushed the brand and the business of our family even further than any of us could have imagined. And I believe that God began birthing even that type of seed within her as he was birthing the thing within my father. You cannot despise really what's inside of your house. I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm here now, so let me be.
We're here.
Um, yeah, you can't really despise what's inside of your house. And I think sometimes that's the problem, because everybody in the house isn't the same. And sometimes everybody in a house doesn't find their gifts at the same time. So you have to watch the feeling of insignificance that may come in those seasons. I know there are a lot of people who are gifted and called to a thing, but sometimes because you see somebody growing at a faster pace, moving at a faster pace in the thing that God has called them, that thing will stunt us or get us stuck, and we'll call that space trauma. When the truth is, we just got stuck watching somebody else do what they were called to do. If I'm being honest, like I keep trying to harp back to this. It didn't start with industry. It started with a love for my father. It started with a love for music, and then the space and the opportunity to do those things. I wasn't thinking industry. I was thinking, oh man, when I put my head in the bathtub, I hear music. I see people singing. You understand what I'm saying? When I close my eyes, when I sit on top of the roof at our house on the south side on Luther Street, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing people singing. I'm seeing people dancing, right? And when I open my eyes, I want to see what I just seen. So more than it starting with an industry, more than it starting with anything else, I believe it all starts with a vision of what God places in you, and also what he places in your hand, which is your gift, right? So if I see something and I have something, then I got to do something. You got me?
Definitely. Come on. I mean, come. Didn't I tell you? Ain't no telling where this conversation was going, but that was a word, okay? And I really hope that teaches somebody, like just that little, however long that was, like take it in. Don't do it for just the love of being in the industry or being somebody having this title or anything like that, but have a real love for that thing that God called you to, whether it's music, art, whatever it is, okay? Just have a real love for what he called you to. And whether it's a father figure, father, mother, mentor, pastor, friend, whatever it is, make sure y'all get y'all a good leader of some sort that could help you along the way and guide that calling, I guess you would say.
You
So yeah, Jay, that was dope.
that's a hard thing though, Aisha, because sometimes like when we want to find a leader or a mentor, we
Mhm.
like the person that can do all the tricks and all the special effects things first, right?
That's true.
So like
Yeah.
we want all the provider and we want all the showtime, but the truth of the matter is we don't have any foundation to put it on. It's like imagine me
Mhm.
putting hot sauce on your plate without.
Oh, uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Looks like we lost him. Let me see if we can get him back. Oh, Jay, so tell me, after you discovered that, you were going behind your dad and everything, and you were getting into music, where does that lead you to in your older years?
And so we moved, man, from the south side to the north side. Got over to Pike Township, northwest side. Met a lot of friends who were actually doing music that had recording studios in their houses and things. So I started doing a lot of production with my homeboy Robert Tatum. My groups like New Image, Mankind. Man, actually was in the talent show against my homeboy Sam and Marcus, and it was so funny. And my homegirl Ray Kareem, man, like we all kind of met during this time. Like we were in the Guy Black talent show.
Mm.
Man, I was a real heavy Jodeci fan, New Jack Swing, Tech
Come
Rally.
on. Did I look Jodeci today? A little bit.
Listen, you know, I mean, that was my thing, man. For real, you couldn't tell me that wasn't what music was supposed to be, man. I was listening to some Faith Evans last night and some Mary J. Blige, but my life, well, it went straight back to '95. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
And
that's
that
crazy. I look bad boy today.
listen, dude. Yeah, I see the jersey, all the things. I see what you're trying to
Yes.
do. Really, what you was thinking about, you was like, I'm on here with the flyest guy in the world, so I gotta be fly too. Is that what it
Here
was?
we go. This is what I'm talking about, people.
But so we would be making all kind of music. When after school, man, hip hop stuff with my boy Devin Goder, Lamont Coleman. Yo, one of my homies, man, Sean Williams, man. We used to do music all the time back in the day. And so, man, graduated high school in '99. Started working on some tunes with my boy Devin Goder and Lamont Coleman. One of the tunes ended up getting picked up by Wyclef. It was a song called Sweetest Girl with Wyclef, Akon, Lil Wayne. I got the opportunity to do all the keyboard work on that joint. It was crazy. Then from there, because we were all working at the same time, Devin is the nephew of Bishop Leonard Scott of Ty Scott Records. And so
Yeah.
Bishop Scott was like, hey, man, I want to do some new stuff. He was like, yo, man, I want to do some, I need you to do some demos for me. Well, Devin is more into the hip hop R&B thing. It was like, yo, Jay, man, why don't you help me do these demos for my uncle? So I ended up demoing like 20, 30 songs for Dr. Scott. And man, probably about a month later, the A&R from the label called me and was like, hey, we want to sit down and have a meeting with you. We want you to produce some records with Bishop Scott or whatever, basically based around the demos that I had done. So that really kind of started pushing me more into the gospel side of it. I know that even though I kind of grew up in church with it, I never really was kind of considering a path of gospel music. You know what I'm saying? Not fully. Even when I had my groups, man, we were always teetering the edge. You know what I'm saying? Is this gospel? Is this gonna go R&B? Even when I was doing music, it was mostly a lot of hip hop and R&B. I really didn't start getting more into the gospel thing until then. I was doing those records with Ty Scott, some stuff with Brian Reeves, James Andrews, and a few others. So man, throughout time, man, just started building relationships with people, building a sound with people. And just kept pushing and growing from there. You know what I'm saying? That's all. And so let's see. So for the last couple of years, we've been rocking my group Thomas in the Situation, which is basically just my band and singers for all of the records that I've done over the last 20 plus years. Man, last year we were nominated for a Dove Award with Bishop Leonard Scott for Best Traditional Gospel Album. Of course, Ricky Dillard walked away with that one. Shout out to Dr. Ricky Dillard. Yeah, but we're coming for one again, though. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We got about 8 more records. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we'll be able to bring one of them home in that traditional category as well, man. We got some stuff happening with the incomparable Miss Ruth LaAntra, a song I wrote and was able to produce. It features the incomparable Thomas in the Situation called Did It Again. Oh man, so God has allowed us to do a lot of great things, and not just God, but the partnership that I've had with Ty Scott and the Sony Music family has been a blessing to me. So just grateful for all of it. You know what I'm saying? I've won some BMI awards, and it's crazy. Like I really often don't really talk about most of this like this. I think it's weird. Like just do a new song with me, and I'm gonna show you what it is, and that's what it is. But I really don't like to talk it like this. This kind of feels weird. But as I'm thinking about it. I'm not even thinking about it. Yeah, well, I'm not even thinking about it from what God, from what I've done on my own. I'm like, man, I'm grateful that God has taken the vision that he showed me as a kid and manifested it through years. You know what I'm saying? Through years of growth and work. Because let me be real, even though I've had industry opportunities, I've not always had industry money. A lot of times I was just working to get into it, working to understand it. And that's something that we cannot forget while we're trying to become, not acting like we've arrived to that point. There's so much more to learn. There's so much more to grow. And if I'm being honest, it's like I'm telling you my start into the industry, but it's not really starting into the industry as much as it is the proving ground for if I can even handle something like an industry. When eyes are on you, you know what I'm saying? When you're leading people and when you're managing people who have all kind of different thoughts and ideas that don't really always pan out. You feel me?
Definitely. But yes, I'm so excited. For y'all that don't know, I've done a lot of admin work for Thomas Under Situation, and those are my people. Okay, so y'all make sure y'all are watching and keep an eye out for new stuff coming.
Everybody,
Okay, get used to the name, Thomas Under Situation.
you know,
Huh?
all over the
I'm
world.
here laughing. That's my son. So sorry.
Uncle Jay, we gonna listen. What up, dude?
Uncle Jay says hello. Anywho, so yeah, that's like I said, I'm excited for you for everything that's to come, everything you're doing now. You've had great accomplishments and everything, and it can only go up from here. Okay, that's what I like to say. But let's get into some deep stuff. The mental health aspect of being in music and being in ministry, like how has being such a public figure has an effect on your mental health? Like, kind of explain how that impacts you.
Well, I think we got to talk about two things too into this, right? There are things that happen, and then there are things that we do that both impact our mental and emotional health. You know, what I failed to mention or just didn't mention just yet, when I was coming up, man, you know, I was incredibly promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've always had a lot of young ladies chasing after me, period. You know, me chasing after them, whatever it was. And sometimes those decisions weren't the right decisions. And in some of those spaces, you know, it made me make decisions. I had children early on before, you know, I even got married. Even as I got older, in the process of my marriage, I had a child outside of my marriage because I was undisciplined in my decision making. Now, I'm going to tell you about a part of these things that have played a part in my mental health and my emotional health. But if I'm being honest, these are things that I caused. You understand what I mean? There are some things that there are some things that come with it. You know, that comes with eyes been on you, or you've been a public figure, right? But then there are some traumas, because some things ain't traumas, some things are just dramas, right? That we cause ourselves. And then, you know, we like to drag it through the annals of our hearts and minds as if someone else did it to us instead of it being a decision. So I got to start there before I even go into any personal type of things like that. Like, I came in the room doing goofy stuff, like most of us growing up, making mistakes, bumping our head, making some bad decisions sometimes. And sometimes, like, I played those things as if, right, they were traumatic events from life, and maybe they were, but they were my decisions. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that before we go into anything that's even mental health, we gotta sometimes be honest. Like, what's our fault? What did I cause, right? Or what happened to me? Those are two different things. I will say this. That 2018 was a crazy time in my life. I had finally decided, you know, to go ahead and step away from a marriage that I had been in since I was a 20-year-old young man. Grateful to the young lady that I was married to, because she brought me two incredibly handsome sons that look just like me and act just like me and are the legacy to the town. Super grateful for that. My beautiful daughters, and I'm just grateful for my children that God gave me in the process. But yeah, some decisions were made and some stuff happened. And yeah, that played on my mental health. But I had, like I said, I have to acknowledge that those things were my decisions. Here's the things that weren't my decisions. Because I decided to live a private life as a public figure, sometimes the private things leaked over publicly.
Ooh.
I can't act like when my private life leaks into my public life that it's somebody's fault that they found out what I've been hiding, right? Uh, if there's something, if there's nothing to be cleared out or aired out, I don't have to worry about it publicly. And I'll be honest and tell you that from 2018 to really about 2022, and really even still in this season now, God has been purging, clearing, and pruning and removing a lot of things from me that were not just me. Because I'm saying before I get to mental health, I got to be honest and say, I had some stuff that I set up around me that didn't need to be around me. You got
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? I, I set up safeguards to do foolishness. Like, let's be real. Many of y'all got friends that when y'all want to make a terrible decision, you're going to call this friend right here. But when you want prayer, you're going to call a completely different friend, right?
Wow.
I had them type of situations set up that I had, and it didn't make sense. So I can't call those things traumas when they were my decisions, right? But then I did have some personal traumas that happened during that time. Through the course of the pandemic, I lost every grandparent that we had. Literally, both my grandmothers and our grandfather passed. Both of our grandfathers passed during that time. We have one grandfather left. Yeah, I know most of y'all only got two. I'm a Thomas. Huh? What's up? That means we got a little bit more. That's all. I'm just like, mama. Anyhow, lost all of our grandparents in the pandemic. Was that traumatic? Of course it was, because suddenly our family experienced not just a shift, but a quantum leap. Literally, my parents, my mother and father went both from just being a son and a daughter to being both matriarch and patriarch of either side of their families. Like, it was a dynamic shift in our entire, and so it was like me looking one day and like, Jay, like, yup, I know you hurt me. I know things don't look the same, but some pain is going to cause you to be stuck. Another pain causes you to grow up. And I'm going to tell you that the pain that I was experiencing in those seasons, and
oh my goodness.
Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, sorry guys, we're having some technical difficulties, but we are back.
The devil in the airwaves.
You hear me? Get out of here. Scram.
The devil. I'm not even doing that like that for real. Like, that just sounds, listen, the devil's name is AT&T, man. I wasn't connected to Wi-Fi. So,
my mercy.
Let me just say the devil right quick. AT&T. All right.
So yeah, you were talking about how your mom and dad were transitioning to now being the matriarch and patriarch. So
literally, they became the matriarch and patriarch of our family literally over the summer. It was so crazy and quick. Couldn't believe it. But that made me realize it was time, Jay, to grow up. It was like, yo, man, your mom and your dad, they've covered you all in prayer. But what happens in this next round when they're transitioning to whatever's next for them? Like, who's going to be the one that covers? You can't be immature forever. You can't make unruly decisions forever. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do whatever you want to do forever. You've got to step into who God has called you to be. And man, like, it's so crazy that the stepping up also became a stripping, right? A stripping of all the things that weren't necessary for where he had called me to. And for me, I didn't understand it a lot of times, man. And I was, man, yeah, I didn't understand it. I didn't. Like, it just seemed like things were falling off. People were falling off, and people that I thought would be around forever. But it's crazy how sometimes you hold on. I tell people this often. Church is the only space that you meet people that you have to know for the rest of your life, right? But say like your friend from first grade, you don't probably remember none of them.
Don't.
Somebody could listen. Somebody could have went to church with you for vacation Bible school only, and you remember them for the rest of your life. And you either call them sister, brother, or friend. And you could have went to school with a kid for 12 years, from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, and literally forget all about that person through the rest of your life, right? Yeah. So there's something to be said about people that you meet in a spiritual context. how we hold them and host them as family, or hold them and host them as something that they may be or may not even be to us. And a lot of that I had a lot of people that were anchoring to me and locking on to me and leeching from me, and just so many ways that we called sister, brothers, friends over time, man, that you're looking like, man, no, these ain't sisters, brothers, and friends. These are the things that keep me from growing. These are the things that are keeping me in the place of undiscipline, because when you look at them and you look at where you want to go, they don't have the fruit of that space, right? So now I'm dragging them and what they don't want to be, along with me and my unruly decisions, and we ain't getting nowhere.
My mercy, just
So,
dead weight.
just straight dead weight. And not to mention my own, because let's be real. Many of us are
Hello.
already carrying our own dead weight anyway, that we refuse to either cut away or let Jesus prune or whatever by the washing of the word. You know what I'm saying? John 15 hits you with that real good, right? He says you've already been pruned by the word or whatever, by taking in the word, by hearing the word, by receiving the word. But some things he's like he said, God is going to cut some branches that don't bear fruit. And what we don't like is the cutaway. What we don't like is the feeling of loneliness when we're cut away from what we're used to. But I'm reminded of the prophet Humphrey that said, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. What he's trying to tell them is sometimes you got to cut off what you know to get to what it is that you're supposed to be. He said, my name is Humphrey.
Huh?
You ain't going to know this the right way until you cut off what you used to.
Come on, somebody.
You ain't going to be able to take what's new until you cut off what you're used to. And for many of us, we want to get to a new thing carrying an old piece of baggage. We want to get to a new place carrying old things. But the word says it's simple, and I love it. It's like, yo, you can't put new wine into old wineskins. Why? Because it's already expanded as far as it can go. And what God is trying to do to you now and through you now is going to take you having more capacity to take more, to do more, to be trusted with more. So you can't make unruly, undisciplined decisions, and you cannot keep carrying unnecessary baggage and or people. Man, these last 3 to 4 years have taught it to me in hard ways, because it's not easy letting go when you're ready to release it. But it's hard to let it go, Aisha, here though, when it's in your hand and you can't understand the reason why you have to let it go. So our fight is never that God said let it go. Our fight is letting go.
Yeah.
It's not what he said. It's whether or not we do it, right? We heard him say it, and we know why we.
Oh my goodness. Every time this man get to talking good, it want to look here, devil. You gonna release this man, okay, and release this airway. I rebuke you in the mighty name of Jesus. Y'all know how to play. We'll be back.